again, everyone, and welcome back to the Dog Show Drive with Wayne and Will. I'm Wayne Cavanaugh.
Yes, you are Wayne Cavanaugh, and I'm Will Alexander. I think I'm looking the wrong way.
Yes, you are, young William. Anyway, this week, a potpourri of events from everything from Wolfstock to car design and breeds we never heard of and judging, owner handler, and leap year. All of this. That's a lot and
what
more.
You feel is a bad hit. Okay,
that's true. All that and more. Dry-sidle, put him in jail. All that and more right here with the Dog Show Drive. Well, good morning there, young William. How the heck are you, bud?
I'm great. I'm exhausted, but I'm here, Wayner. I'm here, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
What do you got on the shirt there, Will? What do you got on the shirt?
Oh, it's a hockey. Oh, look, you have to look. Well, I can do this, can't I? Never mind. Hockey night in Canada.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Hockey night in Canada, because it was hockey night last night, which is why we're a little tired this morning, up till midnight, and then you got to, get ready for bed. And good thing it didn't go into OT, Will. Good thing.
Exactly.
We'd be zombies. We're just half zombies now.
When I was growing up, this was the jacket. This color was the color of the jacket they all wore, and the insignia was in the shoulder, like in their look thing. And I want to get one of those because I want to judge in my Hockey Night in Canada jacket.
Yeah, that would be very important. Maybe tollers you could do that with. Toller people might know.
I don't care. It's for me. I'm selfish. Remember we talked about judging? I'm selfish. We're selfish. Selfish. It's for me.
This is true. Boy,
but I'm going to wear socks.
Does that come in handy when you walk in the ring saying that's yourself?
Oh, for sure it does.
Yeah.
There's no question it does. I did a seminar this weekend at the Cherrybrook warehouse. Gretchen Vanderford. It was wonderful. They have a great setup there if you've ever been there, the warehouse. And they don't have an open store anymore, but whenever they have an event like a seminar, they open the store to the patrons of the seminar. It's cool. Really nice. And Gretchen's wonderful. She helped me out. She actually judged the end of the seminar for me.
Cool.
It's a wonderful little, it's a wonderful warehouse. And if you ever get a chance to go there, you should go. It's really nice.
Yeah, that sounds fun. I know you and everybody has built a lot of that building every weekend with the credit card.
Yeah, going to Cherrybrook.
Brush, spray, stuff.
I meant to go shopping before I left, and I was too tired. So,
I was thinking this weekend, and I was thinking about Bonnie Threlfall because we both are very familiar with this product. We bathed all of the dogs. This is Bob and Jane Forsyth's kennel, Grey Arlen. If you're over 10 and haven't heard of it, you need to figure it out. We had the best dogs of every breed. Well, of course, there's only 150 breeds then, or maybe 101. I think it was 101 breeds. Now we have 250,000. Anyway, every one of those dogs, these were the top winning dogs in the country, got bathed in Lux dishwashing detergent. What? How many shampoos do we have now, Will?
Oh, you can't find Alexander's Originals. Just one.
There you go. Which is, ladies and gentlemen, I'll reveal the secret. It's Lux. Dishwashing.
If it was good enough for Grey Arlen, it's good enough for Alexander's.
I haven't seen that product on the shelves. I think they're out of business. Probably because dogs do.
Alexander's Originals or Lux?
Lux.
Okay.
Anyway,
it's a to pay. Just take that back.
It is funny because I now have this giant thing full of products that I don't need, and I laugh at myself because I keep believing Brody. I really need this. I don't need this.
No. It's amazing what people think they need.
Yeah. I know. And when you go in the ring and you're like, damn, I could have won if I used the number 2 instead of the number 1 spray.
Well, I've judged and I've gone over dogs and you should probably use the 2 grooming spray from Crown Royal, not the number 1.
Yeah, not the number 1.
If you'd use sorry. Take your dog to the end of the line. Don't let anybody get behind it.
By the way, that line, take him to the end of the line and don't let anyone get behind you. I've wanted to say that on so many occasions.
That was Joe Fagel's line.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What a great line.
Yeah, and somebody said it this weekend at my seminar, and they didn't know where it come from. They thought, and I said, and I gave them the story about Joe Fenn.
Wow, how cool. Joe, there's not many Joes around anymore.
He did that to it. I remember the first time I saw him do it was a Saluki in the hand group. You take your Saluki, take it all the way around the ring, and don't let anybody get behind you. The woman's okay. Off she went.
You in front of me. You in front of me. Yeah, come on. It's okay. That's pretty funny. Yeah, the things you can't do now, Will.
Yeah.
You can't do now. Before we start, I want to mention that I got an email. I received an email maybe 2 weeks ago, and it was really good. And it might have been a Facebook message. Whatever it was really good. And it was sort of like a flip side of what we talked about, but in a really pleasant, constructive way. And it was such a good message that I really wanted to talk about it last week and this week. And I keep looking for it, and I can't find it. So whoever you were that sent it in, please resend it, because I really want to discuss it on the air. It was really good stuff and very well written. So my apologies for misplacing it. And please resend so we can talk about
Probably
it.
in the kitchen.
Probably in the kitchen or behind the couch. I remember once one of our friends said something about, this is when we were in college. And, so a couple of weeks ago. And one of our friends said something about she's taking time off to go try to find herself. And Cheryl said, have you looked behind the sofa? Brilliant.
That's perfect.
Anyway, this was a big weekend, Will.
Yes, it was.
It was Wolfstock. And, there's not many events like it. There's no event like it. And everyone's, this is the end of Wolfstock. No, it's not. This is the end of the 15-day, 500 specialties no one can handle at Wolfstock. And it's what happens to clubs. You just can't get enough people. And everyone's, you can get a new group of people to do it. You can't. This was so special. And they did the right thing. This was the last year of the big, long, many-day Wolfstock. Next year, 2 days. And that's the way it's going to be. There's be the same music, the same tie-dye, the same T-shirts. It's kind of like a boutique version of Wolfstock. So if you haven't gotten there yet, you still have many moons to get there.
And I think it'll still be just as good. It's just be 2 days. That's all.
Of course it will. I mean, the Bergs and Kimmy and everybody else, they know what they're doing. They'll make it great. I helped work on the release form for this, and it's long as it's got a lot of facts in it. But I peppered it with Wolfstock words, with song titles. The last line is this, and this wraps it up. It took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, but you made us so very happy. We're so glad you came into our lives. And it's true. The people that come to that show are what make it. And the way that every little detail is, and I've talked about the history of the show, right? The guy went to jail for stealing, really actually went to jail. I don't know if it's ever happened in AKC history. And there was no money in the club. And to start it back up, Kim Meredith came up with the T-shirt idea, and the rest is history. But they built it around this music and theme. And Will was just saying to me before, gosh, would I like as much as you think? Yeah, and there's a reason for it. Music is so powerful. It's so powerful. And when you go there, it's in your ear the entire time. So you're judging 8 o'clock and you're singing along. You can't help it. And even when you're not, your brain is hearing this layer of peace and music that you may have forgotten about, but you haven't forgotten the words. And you can sing along with every song, and you will in your head the entire time you're there. And what makes you more happy than walking around?
I have music in my head all the time, even without music playing. So
yeah, well, that's true. And the DJ is, I mentioned this before, Bobby's just superb. He's had a lifetime in music, and, it's just what to play when. It's just wonderful. The costumes are fun, yes. They can be a bit cumbersome, but they're fun. But you shred down to, you take off the big wig and while you're judging. But it's just so special. And like all good things, you can't expect it to go on forever. You just can't. And the way they've done this to pare it down for next year is brilliant. So Kim Meredith and the Bergs and so many others. It takes a big village to put this on, and they've done it so well. Tip of the hat, and peace, love, and Wolfstock. I'm going to miss the big one. And I can't believe I couldn't be there for this one. And you have no excuse. Next year we're going.
All right. All right.
Because you can go for 2 days. It's five's hard. Brody wants to get there someday. And see, for him, he could take off one day on each end and still be there for the 2 days. So it's doable. And the breed entries are deep too. That's another thing that keep it going.
I looked. I just saw some of the pictures online, and it looks like they have a really good show, quality wise. So.
And the little things during the groups, there's a section roped off at the top of the Best in Show ring, group ring, and there's people say, "Oh yeah, we've had food." Not like this. The catering of these hors d'oeuvres are off the charts. I mean, it's so good, and the wines, all these selections of wine. So you're sitting there. It's also smart. The show goes late. It's a big, big show. It goes late. And if you're a judge, you're thinking, man, I got to get to bed. And going out to dinner is going to be an hour and a half I can't afford. Not a problem. There's so much good food and wine in that ring, in that roped off area for the judges, that you have a perfectly good meal, maybe even more than a meal. So you can go right to bed after the show. Little touches like that are what makes it work.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And the golf carts, it's like syncopated swimming. Is that what it's called? No, synchronized swimming.
Synchronized.
Through the music in there, syncopation, well, on the drummer. So,
yeah.
But the golf carts are right there on time, and it's magical. So again, it's not the end. It's the beginning of a new kind of Wolfstock.
I think 2 days it will be fine. I think it'll be more of a draw. People go, oh, we can all make 2 days, right?
Well, there's those shows in Maryland we talk about that, there's West Friendship Grounds. There's shows there all the time, at least one a month, it seems. And they draw pretty well. But the weekend that draws the biggest is the 2-day weekend of the Baltimore Kennel Club, Maryland Kennel Club. And that's 2 days. And it draws almost another 40%, 50%. Wow. And I think people love those 2 days. It makes it more special.
I think it does. As there was a 4-day show this weekend in Ontario, Erie County Kennel Club, Erie Shores Kennel Club, and it's one of our bigger shows. It's a very nice show. It's along the waters in Caledonia. It's very pretty, but they had rain all weekend, and I got pictures back of people like it was like a mess. But
weather certainly is a big deal, isn't it? When it comes,
if you look at the entries from the end to end, it's quite a drop off, from the Friday to the Monday. Like they were still showing yesterday.
Yeah. Well, we talked about Memorial Day weekend. I just used my little calculator. 441 dogs won a group last
year. Really?
63 times 7. Yeah, come on. You got a group winner? Cool. I won a group. Yeah, so did everybody else.
Yeah.
I won a Best in Show. So did 63 other people that day won a Best in Show. Come on. Yeah, I'm tired of beating that dead horse, but I'll never be tired of wearing.
They were talking about it even this weekend at the seminar. The patrons of the seminar were even talking about there's too many shows.
Remember, a group winner was like, I've got a group winner. No, I don't have a group winner. It would be more appropriate.
How could I not be a group winner now?
Well, you do a specialty, and there's 20 dogs in there that are Best in Show winners or group winners that don't make the cut. It's just, hang around long enough, show them long enough, and your chances are pretty high if it's a good dog that you're going to get something. Everybody's a winner. And, I always talk about this. I guess there's nothing wrong with being a Best in Show winner or a champion or a group winner in every corner in America. It's good for promoting dogs. On the other hand, do those dogs get out in public and spread the word? I don't know. One of the biggest dog events in America is the World Coonhound Championship. There are so many coonhounds that hunt, but they hunt at night. And as a result, how many times you see a coonhound walking around? So people don't think they exist, but there's tens of thousands of them but they don't get out in public because of the nature of their sport. And the same is true for us lately. How many times do you see oh, wait, I've got to do this well.
All right.
Did I save it? I hope I did. Effective June 26th. Now, the miscellaneous group is above the FSS group, right? So FSS, and then you make it into miscellaneous, you got a real good chance you're going to make it into the regular registry. I wouldn't say guaranteed, but real close, right? Close. Effective June 26th, the Bolognese, the Czechoslovakian, I don't know, looks like VLCIAK, the German Spitz, the Pyrenean Mastiff, and the Yakutian Laika. I mispronounced all those. I apologize. Are eligible to compete in the miscellaneous class at AKC confirmation events. There you have it.
Again, I know what a German Spitz is. I've seen those.
I saw, at UKC, I've seen them. Mm-hmm. These are 5 new breeds. Good for those people with those breeds. My question is, do you really have enough to represent? We have breeds now that I love. Wire hair Vizslas. I love that breed. But I've talked about this before. There are Facebook groups now, not looking for majors, looking for points. So if you have one of those breeds that are really the low breed entry portion of the low breeds, more than half breeds now are low entry breeds, which is so sad. But this is a subset, the really low entry breeds. You have to build your own points. So they'll put on their Facebook groups, how about we build a point at Belvedere? I'm all for that. They have to do something.
Right.
But the question isn't whether you can get CEUs. I bitch about that enough. The real question is, how are you going to be any good at them if you never see them?
Well, unlike me, a Veringo specialist.
That's right. You've judged more than anybody, Will.
No, probably. No, I haven't.
Have you judged them yet, or is that coming up?
No. Oh. I don't think even I had to write the test for them to be approved to judge a hound specialty. But will there be any there? I don't know.
Yeah. And just for the American listeners, when Will says write the test, he doesn't create the test. He takes the test.
Really, I'm not taking it anywhere.
Well, that's true. And we take the test. Where do we go with it?
And we write the tests, and you guys take the test. So someone has to do the test, I guess.
Well, you write the test.
We write them,
and then fill in the answers. And not even. And then we take the test and then write in the answer. I don't know. We write in the answers to some questions. That's what it really is, right? Something like that. Yeah. Cumbersome. Anyway, you do. Just because we take the tests and get the CUs, the real test is seeing these dogs. And if you see 1 and 2s, you have no reference. And this is true for judges that in wherever they live or country they live in. If they see 1 English setter only, they'll never get the other setters, and they'll never get English setters.
I get that. We've always had that problem in remote areas here in Canada where they don't get an entry, and we do get judges from those areas because they need them, and they can take the test and then write it somewhere.
Yeah.
But Kaz is calling me.
The best. Congratulations, Kaz.
I'll call him back.
Yeah, with the permission, we don't like.
Don't tell Kaz that I'm not answering his call.
Yeah.
Okay, a friend of the show, Kaz.
Well, if we don't like to do this, if people call inadvertently like that, not knowing we're doing the podcast, and put them on without their permission ahead of time, it's just not fair.
No, that might catch them off guard.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. Anyway, we love you, bud. Looking for points. Yeah, I'm guessing that these breeds don't have giant numbers. It used to be that you had to have a tremendous number of dogs in that breed before you got into miscellaneous. There was no FSS. And that would almost guarantee that you had enough around to make points at shows. And now you go forever trying to find, and there won't be a Boykin, or these are breeds I love too. You can't find them. They're just not entered. They don't appear in the judging program, only in the premium list. And that makes it difficult to learn. And I feel that those breeds deserve the respect that we give all the other popular breeds. And we try our best, but man, if they're not there in numbers, that relative comparison is so important. And you're just not going to see it.
For years in the premium list in Canada, we always had, in the working group, there was always a Talton bear dog. And no one had ever seen a Talton dog. And for years it was eligible because it was in the premium list. And I think since they may have gone extinct now, but they were an indigenous breed to Canada. And I've never seen one in my life. I've seen pictures and drawings of them, but like for years growing up, we'd be looking at the premium list and go, a Talton bear dog.
I mean, you could make a case that because it's indigenous, that you should keep it in there, right? If there were any. We're bringing breeds in from countries that many of us have never heard of. And if that's true, what do you know about the real pedigrees of these dogs, right? Yep, they've been purebred for 20 generations. Prove it.
Yeah.
Prove it. And when you see the variety of style in each breed, makes you wonder, who cares? No one else cares. No one else cares.
I remember showing a dog to Bill Taylor one time. Remember, Bill Taylor?
Yeah.
It wasn't a great dog. It was just a dog. And Bill used to stand there and he goes, how old's this dog? And I'm thinking, he goes, who cares? Down and back. Who cares? Down and back.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, we care about the breeds, don't get us wrong, but it's the system that concerns us. And you have to go to the nationals to see more than a few. But then again, years ago, maybe last year, I did these stats, so they're not, I'm not clear on them, and I haven't done the new ones. But there were something like 17 breeds that didn't have a national. And then there were a bunch of breeds that had a national that had less.
You do that in your spare time, you nerd.
Yeah, I know. I have to update the data. Well, I got to update the gray matter. But there was a number of shows with fewer than 10 at the national specialty, and then a bunch without any. I don't know. There's a place for these dogs. I love them. I want them developed. But if they're staying stagnant at no entries, what do you do? What do you do? And it needs to be nipped in the bud ahead of time. If they truly can't represent a big enough population, and the clubs cheat on that, I get that. They want to get recognized. But and here's the problem. What the AKC does is they say, how many dogs are there? And they can show papers, FSS, miscellany, whatever they want, papers to prove how many there are. That's fine. Some of those are a week old. Some of them are 18 years old. So they're not breeding age. And I think they need to reduce it to breeding age. And if they don't do that, if they did it to breeding age, there wouldn't be enough. But when you include the 16-year-olds and the 14-year-olds that are no longer in the breeding population, what good does that do? They're not getting shown. Right. They're not getting bred. So why include them in the data?
They're trying to get recognized. That's why.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Love them. And as I said, some of my favorite breeds, but I judged Bolognese in Florida last year in Tallahassee. It was a wonderful little breed, but they're all over the map. And the people are very dedicated to them. So good on you. Anyway, it's leap year, Will.
Oh yeah, you brought that. That completely. I didn't know that for some reason.
Yeah, and the definition of leap year, Will, it's very funny, I think. Of leap year. Leap year. Two Johns Hopkins professors suggested a new calendar that would not change from year to year and would eliminate leap years. There's all kinds of projects trying to correct this issue. But the funny part is leap year is designed to correct the issue. we've got an imbalance in the number of days in the calendar year. So they have to reset because of the slight error. They have to reset. That's fine. I get that. But dog show calendars don't get that. So when you ask for an assigned date from the AKC, you get a week 1, week 2, week 3, as it should be. But those weeks don't fall on the same dates anymore. So you're sure that you've always had on June 5th, you apply for that date. You're not getting that date, you're getting that week, which could be the week after, a week before. So it's a funny year for schedules.
Yeah, that would make it difficult on some of them, that's for sure.
And if you're scheduling a show for this year, for next year will be affected, of course, you're going to have to make sure that's the date and the week you really want, because things change by one day. It shifts the whole calendar a little bit, just enough to make your ears go up like a Doberman pinscher. I don't know where that expression came from.
Well, I'm not sure that's an expression, but okay.
Yeah, I just made it up. Anyway, all that and more right here on the Dog Show. Drive cars. Here's how my brain goes. Well, if I'm not at a dog show on Sunday, what is it that I do, Will?
You wax your car.
I wax my cars. And then I go through, when I get them shiny, I go through the parking lots of the car dealerships and look at the cars. And when a new one comes out, I can't wait to get there and see it. I just did that this weekend. I saw 2 new ones and just out. And when I see that initial design, well, I'm going to get there.
I know exactly where you're going, and I think it's wonderful. Go ahead.
When you see the initial design, your reaction is, whoa, that is really cool. Or, not sure. Or, that's ugly. A year later, you've seen a bunch of them on the road now. And you're like, well, actually, I do like that. Well, actually, that looked unique, but now it looks kind of boring or futuristic. They didn't make it. Or you have to see that design for a long period of time, and many of them, before you really get a grip on what they look like, and you can form your opinion, and that opinion will change over time. I look back on some cars whose designs, the designs of which I really liked then, and I look now and go, off balance.
You get caught up in the moment sometimes.
The same is true with a new top flying #1 whoopsie doodle group winner, best in show winner. They come on the scene the first time you see him. Boy, I can remember a dog vividly. And he was a flyer too, won a lot. First time I saw him, I said, nope, that's not for me. But it is a show dog and it's going to win. And boy, did it. And if you talk to the people who really know, who have been around a long time, we all have the same opinion. Right or wrong, does it matter? I don't know. But your eye does adjust and change over time. And well, you're talking about a dog, without naming him, who came to your country from America for a weekend, and you all.
Well, it was very exciting, right? You see this new dog, because the dogs that are shown in your area all the time, they're some of the most beautiful dogs in the area. But familiarity breeds contempt, and you eventually start picking on these dogs because you see them every weekend. Then something new shows up for the weekend, and I'm going to tell what dog it was. It was the Springer's dog, Christopher Robin. I'm sure he's not being shown anymore. And we were in awe of Christopher Robin, and he was a very nice dog. But would we think the same of Christopher Robin if he was shown in our area every weekend? Probably not, because that's just the way it goes. Familiarity breeds contempt, and you get blinded by how good they are or how bad they are. Either way, it's an interesting concept, because it happens to us a lot up here in Canada, because it's not so much now with the border issues, but when a new dog shows up, the whole dog show is all a titter, because they're all, oh my God, you want to see this new dog and then you go see it and you think it's great, but is it as good as you think it is when you first see it, or are you blinded by the familiarity of the rest of your dogs that you're used to seeing all the time?
Yeah, and when a dog's around for a long time, guess what we get to do? See it every weekend and pick on it every weekend, and before you know it, wow, can you believe that thing's still being shown with that front? And no one discussed its front the first year.
But it's the same thing when I talk about it with my students, though. I try to explain to them about the judging your dog for 2 minutes. You have to have be the best dog you can be for only 2 minutes really in the ring. And people that are watching a class and they'll see a dog and he'll have bad moments, he'll have good moments, but he's the best dog. Well, how come the judge didn't find him? Well, because you had 20 minutes to look at this dog, where Wayne had 2 minutes to look at this dog.
Yeah.
And if the 2 minutes weren't as pleasing as the other 18 minutes, and the whole sport, in my eye, is based on outline and timing. And in those timing, moments happen or they don't happen.
Yeah.
Right? And dogs are built on those moments in time that we remember. We remember when Manhattan went around that green carpet at Westminster. We remember these things, or Cause with the miniature poodle. We remember those moments. Well, I'm sure we all know that I've had dogs that those moments are the best they're going to get, and there's times they're not in those moments, and we try to do our best to get them through those moments so that the 2 minutes come around and they're back to where we want them to be. But,
yeah. It's true. I showed my little puppy for the first time, last weekend, and he was very young and very green. And the judge, who I know, said to me after, "God, such gorgeous type. He's going to be a real one." But man, when he went around the ring, I'm like, yeah, I know. I could see what he was doing with his top line. First time on mats, and he was kind of tentative, and it destroyed his top line. I knew that he saw that, but does everybody know that?
You should have used the line, "He doesn't do that at home."
He felt great. He felt great. Let someone else show him, and you look at him and tell me how great he felt.
Yeah. I always love it when I get there. Oh, he doesn't do this at home. Well, there's no dog at your home.
Exactly. And it was great because I stopped him midway and went, I know exactly. And it was so cool because we had a good discussion about it. We both knew it and understood. And I just thought, how many people would get this wrong and go in there, "What are you talking about? My dog, he felt perfect." When I saw him at video at home, he was, well, maybe not for these 2 minutes. He wasn't. The surface changed, the timing changed, the crowd changed, everything changed. He wasn't following, or he was following, or those things are so instant. And that's why you really have to see large breed entries. Well, again, because during that time, I'm not in my mind in those 2 minutes discussing with my brain everything from the flared nostrils to the tip of the tail by detail. I'm just seeing it because I know how to see it. And if you don't learn how to see and have that experience of your eye, you ask me to describe it, I'll just say, I didn't like it. Why? I don't know. There were other ones that were better, and I didn't spend the rest of my day analyzing every bone in that dog's body who was going to go 12th out of 12. I can tell you that he was made wrong. He was off balance. Usually he's going to be the first thing, right? He wasn't balanced. But it's a snapshot thing, and you have to, it's like muscle memory. Carole King did a concert with James Taylor a couple of years ago. They hadn't played together in 20, 40 years or something. And she was saying that when she went to play the song, she didn't remember it, but her hands did. And it's true. It's like muscle memory. When you're playing guitar, if you have to sit there and go C, D, B, you'll never play it. It's just in your head.
That's how I play.
Exactly. But, it's the same thing with dog judging. If you don't have that tremendous depth of knowledge, you're never going to see that 2 minutes and be able to form a valid opinion. And yes, when you get to those, you are going to be able to discuss every bone in their body.
And it goes both ways. It goes the handler too. The handler's got to know when to. Your dog cannot perform for 18 minutes straight. Right. They're not. So you've got to figure out timing.
Throwing the food. Get out. Like what?
You want to be prepared for your moment.
Yeah.
So
the dog is going to say, "Really, you want me to do this?"
Yeah, I'm not doing this again. The guy over there having his lunch thought I looked beautiful.
Yeah. And it's true for handlers. I don't just mean professional handlers.
Yeah.
You don't know what your dog looked like. We have no idea. So don't go flying off the handle because it's a great dog. Yeah, maybe he is, but not today. And you didn't see what I saw, so shut your trapper. It's
hard. It's hard on people, until they see it. And I try to explain that to them until you try to do what we do as judges now. And I was the same way when I was a handler. But until you change it and the perspective changes, you don't get to see. And you don't get to see why this dog beat that dog in your eye, even though in your eye at home, you may even know in your heart of hearts that yours is a better machine than that dog is a machine, but not that day. It's based
And
on.
we do have some horrible judges. Let's face that's true in every sport and every endeavor, and they're just never going to get it right. They have a gift for putting the worst dog in the ring up first and the best last. That's never going to go away. That's just humans. You can vote with your entry on those judges.
Yeah.
A real test, and I think I mentioned this a week or two ago, Will, is the owner-handler group thing. When you have those breeds that you don't get to see all that often, but not rare, when one walks in by itself, you might say, that's a beautiful Quaker Hungy. But have you seen it in a group? You'd be more comfortable if there was 10 there, and then you could just see them all and pick out the one and place them in the group. Because relatively, you have nothing to compare it to. And you better know that breed in that case.
Yeah. And that's the truth. And I had somebody call me that they're an aspiring judge, and they called me and they asked me about a certain dog, and they said, "Well, I've seen 3." And the certain dog had had a big win. Well, I've seen 3 dogs better than that. I said that doesn't matter. Were the 3 dogs better than that in that ring? I said when you're judging, I think some of the best piece of advice I ever got was, you can't make them what they're not. You can only sort them.
It's true.
It's the truth. Like there may be. I'm sure I've judged and thought this is a beautiful dog. There's better ones, but the other better ones aren't there today. So
they're not there today, or if they are, they're not shown real well, or they are shown great. It so much depends upon that moment, and it really is. It's kind of like the Olympics. You work for 20 years to do your right.
Yeah.
Tumble.
Like 2 minutes.
And that's it. And you can train and prepare and trim, and you need to, because you've got to get the best out of those 2 minutes. But
I was telling the students this weekend, not students, that I guess they're students, that I used to take dogs and I used to pick spots that where I wanted, my goal was. Back in the day, it might have been when Mrs. Clark was, Mrs. Clark's judging the 6 months at whatever show, and I want my dog to be ready for that show, or I want to get my dog ready for the garden. I want to get my dog ready for the national specialty. And they said, how do you know when you're ready? I said, you don't know when you're ready. You just keep trying and trying to progress and try to improve each time, so that maybe when you get there, that moment's going to be there and you're ready, but you don't know when you're ready. You just got to keep trying and keep practicing and keep training, and not let what I call resistance get in the way, because, I'd rather go watch Jeopardy. But because a lot of those things happen where you should, even the littlest thing like doing your dog's nails, people all do them at the dog show. You know how hard that is when you're competing with someone like Cause, that makes sure everything is perfect every time. So when Cause does beat you, you go, I just got beat by the handler. You have no idea what he put into that dog for that weekend. And you need to do the same before you even start complaining about anything that happens at the dog show.
Do that nail the night before or the day of, and you bleed one, and he doesn't like it, good luck.
Exactly.
Is he going to show the same? Is he going to move the same? Is he going to let you near his foot the same? No.
Exactly. Or you do whiskers the day of, and your dog doesn't like the clippers near its face. Then the judge goes to check its mouth, and it pulls back. They have no. It makes me angry that they don't. There's a list. I always tell people there's only one thing that you are not in control of at the dog show, and that's the outcome. Everything else you are in control of. You're in control of training your dog, grooming yourself, training yourself. All those things. That list should be completed before you even step in the ring. If you don't complete that list, you're not doing your dog justice. And if someone like Cause beats you, it's because he completed that list multiple times and his dog is ready.
And he also started with a real good dog. He's not going to take.
Oh, for sure. We all
something
we all think our dog is good. So that's but you still have to, even if you're just going for the points, if you don't complete that list, someone that does complete that list, maybe with a lesser dog, is going to beat you.
Absolutely. And these things don't change. It's a constant. You have to get the dog ready for the day. Now, on the other hand, you may have a judge who's so closely, that knows his breed so inside out, and will forgive on some of those things. I like to think in some breeds I do that, but you can only forgive so much. and you can't.
Fine for forgiving, but you have 2 minutes. You have 2 minutes to tell Mr. Cavanaugh, even though I didn't do his nails, even though his ears are dirty, even though he's a better rocker dog than that rocker dog behind me. But in those 2 minutes, if you had done all those things, it would have been easier for someone to find that dog.
Absolutely. You got to give us something to work with. There are cases, and it's another thing, there are times that depending on how many dogs a minute they give you, and that's exactly what happens for those who don't know, we on our little page at the superintendent's, it says we're either 23 dogs a minute, 25 dogs, an hour.
Bob Moore.
And there are times with absentees, you have a lot of time. There are times when there's no absentees and you had some real close calls that you had very little to no time. So these things all compact and come out to be important in your day. You might have time, you may not. And sometimes you're all of a sudden so awestruck by a certain class, the next class walks in, you're like, oh, I got to catch up. Yeah. Or sometimes if you're a new judge, the super or somebody, the rep might come by and go, tempo, you're going way too far out. So you got to be prepared on both ends. And that's all there is to it, Will. Yeah. That's all there is to it, Will. That's it, buddy. That's it.
We're ready. We're ready for this week. We're ready.
Put me in.
Where are you this weekend?
Well, I think I'm in Seaside, Florida. Oh, wait a second. We didn't mention hockey.
We didn't? We started off with hockey. So you're going to Seaside, Florida. Where is that?
Games are in Edmonton. I'm going to the celebration party in Seaside with the big screen and the sidewalk, I'm not doing that, Will. But I am going to Florida in a couple hours, so I got to pack. I'm going down to our house.
Are you near the hockey game? Are you near? I don't even know where the Florida rink is. I know Tampa's in Tampa, but I don't know where Florida. Sunrise, Florida.
Sunrise, Florida. It's kind of like west of Fort Lauderdale, that area. So it's not on the coast. It's inland a little bit.
So you're not going to go and
between Miami and Fort Lauderdale, but slid over. So no, I'm not going to. But if the game was on, I'd go. I'd figure out a way to go.
Well, how long are you there for?
Oh, we're going to be there for a couple of weeks, and
the game will be on at some point
to get the new house settled in. Oh yeah, it will. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, and your buddy Will could fly down too. Yeah. You can send the jet up to get Will, and Will will come down and watch the game with you.
That's right. You can all say what you want, but they hit on Barkov. It's disgusting. Take the best player out of the series changes. I'd put Draisaitl in jail. That's just me, Will.
He's not going to go to jail.
I know that's the plan.
If that was mid-season, he might get something, but no, he's not.
If that was during the regular season, he'd be out for 4 or 5.
Not 4 or 5. It wasn't
months. If I was the referee,
4 or 5 months. If you were the dictator of the NHL, you bugger, you're our player.
Leave your feet and elbow somebody in the head. Come on. And if you think Barkov's
you play patty cake hockey, get in there.
If you think Barkov's going to get on the Barkov's not going to fake any injury.
No, he's not.
If anybody
and
would laugh at a hit like that,
it's the playoffs, and if you can take out their best player for a shift or two, and I think back to some series bygone years where goalies were run and Bobby Orr was hit, and because it's just the way the game was played back then, Wayner.
Will has a Tanya Harding poster in his bedroom.
Why?
Oh, we better go.
Can you see Barkov? I can't see Barkov going. Why? His ears broke. He'd be back on the ice.
Right, he would. If he could, he'd be right back.
Not like soccer players. This is no patty cake league.
But no out of bounds. No out of bounds.
Remember, in hockey, you can't go out of bounds. That's the great Don Cherry.
True. Man, he's no great Don Cherry. Peace be with you, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a wonderful experience sharing this knowledge with you. Or not knowledge, nonsense. Yeah. Either way, Will.
It's a show about nothing.
We're glad to be here.
It's a show about nothing.
Buddy, take us out.
All right. We'll see everybody down the road, and stay safe.
Pretty on, Greg.
No way.
Better be paying attention, Doc.
Thanks, Will. Thanks. So, Ernie. use this in the blooper reel.
That's right. We love you, Ernie.
Don't put that in, Ernie.
Quit taking yourself so damn seriously.
Some extraordinary data things that are being done around the world. Thanks, Ernie.
We didn't mention hockey either. Isn't that unbelievable? Put that in, Doc.
Yeah, they let us see it in a blooper. This is good. We're going to be here in a second, Wiener.
Don't lose it, Doc.
Hot.
Use that one, Doc.
Don't use that one.